10 Prison Research Topics. War on Drugs and Prison Overcrowding. The war on drugs officially started in June 1971 when President Nixon declared drugs to be public enemy number one. This campaign involved imposing strict punishment on drug offenders, including long-term incarceration. As a result, since the start of the war on drugs, U.S. prisons have become overcrowded, mainly because of many incarcerated drug users. In your paper, you can explore whether such strict drug laws have been justified. Prisoners' rights and prison system reform. In a paper on this topic, you can examine prisoners' rights in the criminal justice system and the need for prison system reform. Pay particular attention to issues such as inmate abuse and access to healthcare, education, and rehabilitation programs. Why are prisoners' rights so challenging to uphold, and how can we deal with this problem? School-to-prison pipeline in the American justice system. The school-to-prison pipeline means applying strict disciplinary policies in relation to students. It also involves relying on the police to discipline students more than on teachers and administrators. In your paper, you may investigate why the school-to-prison pipeline disproportionately affects marginalized communities. You can also propose strategies to repeal it and promote educational opportunities instead. Keeping minors and adult inmates separate to address the problem of violence in prisons. In this essay, you may discuss how the sight and sound separation of minors from adult inmates can help tackle the problem of violence in prisons. You can start by explaining why violence occurs in correctional facilities in the first place. What makes minors especially vulnerable to violence? Finally, you can analyze the benefits and challenges of separating minors and adults in prisons. The grisly conditions that prisoners endure in private prisons. Private prisons are much less safe than public ones. Statistics show that all types of violence are significantly more prevalent in private prisons. In your paper, you can expose the harsh and inhumane conditions that prisoners in private correctional facilities face. You can also explain how the profit-driven nature of private prisons affects the treatment of incarcerated individuals. Recidivism in American prisons. This topic lets you explore the issue of recidivism, the tendency of individuals to reoffend after release from prison. In particular, you should answer the question, why do people reoffend? You might examine contributing factors such as limited rehabilitation programs, lacking support systems, and societal stigmatization. You can also analyze strategies for fostering inmates' successful reintegration into society. Rehabilitation programs offered in prisons. In this paper, you can review 3 major types of rehabilitation programs: education-focused, occupational-based, and psychological. Are they effective in reducing recidivism rates? Do they successfully prepare inmates for social reintegration? Additionally, analyze the challenges in implementing comprehensive rehabilitation programs. Privatization of prisons in the US, Australia, and the UK. In this paper, you can explore prison privatization trends in the US, Australia, and the UK. You can focus on the motives behind prison privatization, such as cost efficiency and expected improvements in management. You can also expose the controversies of privatization, like profit-driven practices, compromised inmate welfare, and increased recidivism risks. The comfort and luxury of prison life. Some people believe that prisoners have too much comfort, more than some veterans and working citizens can afford. In your paper, you can explore whether this is the case in your country. Additionally, analyze the moral side of this problem. Do criminals deserve to live in comfortable conditions? Do they have the right to 3 meals a day, a TV, and the internet? Support your point with sound arguments. Administrative segregation in California prisons. In this essay, you can investigate the practice of administrative segregation, also called solitary confinement, in California prisons. We suggest you explore the circumstances under which prisoners are placed separately from others. How does this practice affect the psychological well-being of inmates? Does it violate any human rights? What alternatives can you propose for managing difficult or dangerous prisoners? Find more research topics on studycorgi.com.